Get Carter. When it hit cinemas in 1971, British crime changed shape. No swagger, no shine, just vengeance on wet concrete. Michael Caine's Jack Carter wasn't out to look cool. He was out for blood. Set in the gray streets of Newcastle, the film felt raw and quietly unsettling. You could almost smell the smoke and feel the weight in every scene. Wolfgang Suschitzky's long lenses watch from a distance. Roy Budd's live-to-picture pulse never lets up, and a car park fall turns menace into myth. Here are 20 weird facts about Get Carter that show how this brutal classic was really built. Load the shotgun, board the northbound train, and step into the north. Number 1. The beginning of it all. Get Carter began with a 1970 crime novel called Jack's Return Home. It was set in a grim northern town and introduced Jack Carter as a cold, methodical gangster investigating his brother's suspicious death. Lewis portrayed post-industrial Britain as raw as he could. An era filled with corruption and class tension inspired director Mike Hodges to adapt to it almost immediately. The novel's brutal tone and sharp dialogue shaped the film's atmosphere, establishing the gritty, morally bleak foundation that became the hallmark of both paper and screen. Number 2. The title switch. Before audiences ever saw a frame, the marketing mattered. Ted Lewis's book had modest success under its original name, but after the film hit British cinemas in 1971, publishers quickly rebranded the novel as Get Carter. The sharper, more aggressive title mirrored the movie's tone and Michael Caine's lethal persona. It also emphasized action over introspection, making it easier to sell to global audiences who wanted crime, revenge, and consequences. This was the much-needed retitle that permanently tied Lewis's fiction to the film's iconic identity. Number 3. Mike Hodges' bold debut. Mike Hodges was a television director before Get Carter became his first feature film. He had never helmed a full-length production, yet his sharp documentary instincts and his eye for realism turned this modestly budgeted thriller into a masterpiece. Hodges' background in factual television influenced the gritty authenticity of each frame, and he managed to merge artistic restraint with unflinching violence, marking one of the most confident directorial debuts in British cinema history. Number 4. The film's beating heart. Get Carter was filmed almost entirely in Newcastle and Gateshead between July and September 1970. At the time, the Northeast was rarely depicted on screen, and its industrial skylines and soot-stained terraces gave the movie a visual realism unseen in London-centric crime dramas. The region's crumbling factories, cold beaches, and narrow alleyways reflect the decay within Carter's world. Number 5. A low-budget crime. Despite popular beliefs, Get Carter was relatively low on budget. It cost around £750,000, which wasn't so big even in those days. So, what you thought as the film's stark visuals weren't a stylistic indulgence, but a necessity of restraint. Hodges and cinematographer Wolfgang Suschitzky made every pound count by shooting quickly and using natural light as much as possible. Michael Caine took a reduced fee to ensure the production, and the result proved that artistry and atmosphere could emerge even from financial limitations. Number 6. The lens of realism. To enhance realism, cinematographer Wolfgang Suschitzky used long lenses and natural lighting to capture spontaneous moments that felt like a documentary. Instead of glossy studio framing, he preferred observing from a distance and letting characters move freely in real environments. Crowds and background locals often didn't realize they were being filmed. The flattened perspective from telephoto lenses created an unsettling intimacy, making Carter seem trapped by the same landscape he dominated. This innovative approach gave the film a texture that is rarely achieved in crime cinema. Number 7. The one-man orchestra. At just 22 years old, composer Roy Budd created one of film history's most haunting minimalist scores. For Carter Takes a Train, he played harpsichord, electric piano, and grand piano simultaneously. His jazz background allowed him to perfectly capture Carter's silent fury. Can you believe something so iconic was all recorded in a single session and at the same time? That's pure musical genius, combined with a simplicity that creates the most hypnotic tunes in movie history. Number 8. Britt Ekland was resistant. Did you know why Britt Ekland initially resisted joining Get Carter? Having already portrayed two gangster molls, she feared being typecast as little more than a decorative companion to criminals. She also disliked the requirement for nudity as she felt it was unnecessary. However, personal financial troubles forced her to reconsider. Ultimately, she accepted the role of Anna, Jack Carter's lover, and later expressed gratitude for the decision. Despite her hesitations, the film became one of the defining highlights of her early career. Number 9. The Las Vegas of Gateshead. One of the film's key settings was a shabby boarding house called Las Vegas, was filmed on Coburg Street in Gateshead. The irony of its name matched the film's bleak humor, a promise of glamour that delivered only smoke-stained walls and misery. Local residents reportedly watched filming from their windows as Caine walked through their street, and the location became a cult pilgrimage site for fans who saw the artistic contrast between working-class hardship and the false flash of organized crime. This irony embedded in that setting still echoes in every rewatch. Number 10. Death from the car park. Perhaps the film's most unforgettable moment occurs when Jack Carter throws a man from a multi-story car park rooftop. The falling body smashes onto a car below, killing the passengers inside, making it an act so brutally indirect that audiences were stunned. The scene was filmed at the Trinity Square car park. Its cold concrete geometry mirrored Carter's emotional void. Number 11. The Trinity Square legend. Did you know that the Trinity Square car park became immortalized by Get Carter? Fans nicknamed it the Get Carter Car Park, and for decades, tourists visited to stand where Caine's vengeful anti-hero delivered justice. Its brutalist architecture suited the film's tone and fit perfectly in the ugly, functional, and unsettling ambiance of the story. When demolition began in 2010, preservationists protested to protect this cinematic landmark, but to no avail. Despite the loss, its myth endures, and it remains one of the few buildings in Britain's post-war times that owe their fame to a single, unforgettable scene in a film. Number 12. A killer's lonely ending. Unlike most gangster films of its era, Get Carter refuses to glorify violence. After systematically destroying his enemies, Carter himself is shot dead on a bleak Northumberland beach. The camera lingers as his body rolls lifelessly into the surf. This ending shocked audiences who were expecting triumphant anti-heroes. But Hodges wanted to show that violence is cyclical and self-defeating, and that Carter's revenge achieves nothing but emptiness. The sea's gray monotony mirrors the futility of his crusade, turning one man's vengeance into a quiet ode to moral erosion of society. Number 13. The X-rated crime classic. When Get Carter premiered in America, it was slapped with an X rating, which came as a surprise because it was a classification usually reserved for explicit films. The MPAA cited its nudity, language, and relentless violence as the main reasons. Despite this, critics praised its honesty and restraint, and appreciated how Hodges never sensationalized brutality, but observed it. Later, after revisions to the American rating system, the film was reclassified as RD. Number 14. Birth of the Brit Noir aesthetic. Get Carter redefined British gangster cinema. Gone were the slick London clubs and gentleman crooks, and instead, audiences saw smoke-filled pubs, factories, and crumbling terraces. Its industrial realism birthed what critics later called Brit Noir. It portrayed crime as a byproduct of social decay, not glamour. The unfiltered dialects, working-class grit, and northern melancholy became a visual vocabulary, imitated for decades. It's safe to say that films like The Long Good Friday and Sexy Beast owe their tone to Carter's world that paved the way. Number 15. Ted Lewis's story transformed. While Ted Lewis's Jack's Return Home inspired the film, Mike Hodges made key changes. The novel's protagonist is more reflective, but Hodges stripped him down to raw instinct. Caine's Jack Carter barely smiles, rarely explains himself, and never forgives. The film also relocates the setting, changes minor plot points, and amplifies violence. In a way, Lewis's bitterness became Hodges's visual poetry. Though the author had little control over the adaptation, He later acknowledged that without the film, his novel might have faded. Instead, it became a cornerstone of British noir literature. Number 16. Caine is Carter. The film's American marketing leaned entirely on star power. Posters blazed with the simple, unforgettable line, "Caine is Carter." By 1971, Michael Caine was already a major name, known for The Italian Job and Alfie, but Get Carter transformed him from charming rogue to icy executioner. The tagline captured his duality as an actor, which was being both likable and lethal. American distributors hoped audiences would equate his name with menace, and the campaign worked beautifully. Even decades later, the phrase remains shorthand for Caine's defining role and the performance that cemented his place in the crime category. Number 17. From controversy to canon. When it was first released, Get Carter divided critics. Some called it nihilistic and joyless, while others saw brilliance in its realism. But over the decades, the film's reputation soared. It now regularly appears on Greatest British Films lists, including the BFI's 1999 ranking of the top 100. Modern critics praise its precision and restraint, while filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino and Guy Ritchie call it inspiration. Number 18. The Misfired Remake. In 2000, Hollywood attempted to resurrect Get Carter with Sylvester Stallone playing the title role. Despite Caine's cameo, the remake failed both critically and commercially. Where the original relied on quiet menace, the remake replaced subtlety with explosions and sentimentality. The relocation to Seattle erased the grim authenticity that defined the 1971 version. Critics noted that without its British social backdrop, the story had lost its moral texture. But this failure weirdly emphasized on the original's brilliance and made the fans believe that some wonders truly can never be remade. Number 19. From Scunthorpe to Newcastle. Ted Lewis's novel takes place in a fictionalized Scunthorpe, inspired by his Lincolnshire upbringing. Mike Hodges relocated the story to Newcastle and Gateshead after visiting the area and being struck by its industrial desolation. The relocation transformed the film's identity and made it not only a crime story but a portrait of northern Britain in decline. Number 20. The Naked Truth of Violence. One of the film's most startling moments shows Jack Carter walking naked from his bed, shotgun in hand, as he confronts intruders. In 1971, such an image was shockingly raw because nudity in mainstream British cinema was rare, especially when it involved a male star. Hodges insisted it was essential and that Carter had nothing left to hide, physically or morally. The scene became a metaphor for exposure, showing the character being stripped from illusion and humanity. Half a century later, Get Carter remains a film that never aged, only hardened with time. Its silence speaks louder than gunfire, and the realism is heavier than blood. Whether you're drawn to its noir grit or its cold morality, one thing's certain, Carter's ghost still walks those northern streets. If you like discovering the madness behind this mad film, don't look away now and hit subscribe to catch the next train.